most important things to learn in becoming a successful mentalist is the ability to observe people closely but not look like you're doing it. You observe them and then you profile or come to conclusions that you can employ in your readings. Now, some of your guesses will be wrong, but I'm going to show you how to deal with wrong guesses in another video, and we'd show you that in our ebook on how to read minds. So don't worry if they're wrong. Some of your guesses will be right, and they are reputation makers. Now, what do you observe? Well, first there's physical clues. Look at clues that people have. Maybe it's something written on their t-shirt, their dress, like are they wearing a business suit or are they wearing sandals? It tells you something about them. How about physical condition? You know, if they look like they do manual labor or work out a lot, that tells you something. If they look like they haven't exercised in their whole life, that tells you something else. Wedding rings are important, pretty obvious, but hey, height and weight, all different things. There's all kinds of clues. Start to observe people just in your regular life, and you'll see how much you can learn. Now, body language is another important thing. In our book, we spend a whole chapter on how to interpret body language, but for cold reading, it's really important. Now, there's involuntary gestures, facial expressions, changes in posture can tell you if a person is becoming anxious. And when they're anxious, that's usually a good sign that you're on the right track in your questioning or guesses. So look for changes in breathing, changes of speech, or sometimes their voice will go up. A lot of psychics say that a person's pupils will open wider when they're interested or when you're on the right track, but that their eyes will narrow and their pupils will kind of close if you're going the wrong way. So look. Another thing is looks of disappointment can signal that you're on the wrong path. So learn as much as you can about body language. We'll teach you a lot in our chapter on body language in the ebook, but just pay attention as you perform and you will learn a lot. Now, another important technique is to use questions that are disguised as statements. So many mentalists and mind readers ask questions in a way that make it seem they could be questions or they could be statements. So they'll make a statement out of it by letting the tone of their voice go up at the end. For example, if I say, "So you work with numbers?" is that a question or a statement? If they go, "Yes, it is," it looks like I just made a tremendous guess. If it's wrong, I can make it look like it was a question and move on to something else. Like, "So you work with numbers?" "No, I didn't think so. I believe," and you just move on to something else. So that's an important technique. Now, the other thing is to capitalize on answers. Now, most of the time, a subject or the readee will volunteer more information. For example, in our example that we use, they might say, "No, I don't work with numbers, but I work with computers." So then you can add things like, "Okay, I see how I misinterpreted that." And the audience will think you're reanalyzing some image you had in your mind that you misunderstood. Now, you can add things like, and make it look like you're about to, you knew about this. So they say, "No, actually, I don't work with numbers, but I work with computers." And you go, "That's what I was thinking." But you can ask more questions. You can give the impression you actually know a lot more about the subject than you actually do. Now, this requires fast listener, which is the most important quality in cold readers. You'll be able to get lots of information and use follow-up questions. Now, another thing is to use vague expressions and follow-up agreements. So, in our example, you could follow up with something like "computers. And I feel you've been with this for a long time. I feel you've been at this for a long time." And the subject says, "About 3 months." You can reply, "Yes, about 3 months. That's right." Now, do you see how there's no definition for a long time? If they say 3 months and you go, "Yes, that's about right, 3 months." It appears that you're confirming what you already knew, and no one can say what you meant by a long time. So there's a couple of quick examples of things you can do with observation. We teach it all in our book. Take a look at our website. We give you a free ebook first, and then we have our real professional ebook that you can purchase for a very low price. So thank you very much.